Hello, lovelies. ShawnJ here, and I'd like to welcome you to the premiere episode of Underneath the Shade Tree with ShawnJ. This being my first episode, I thought it only fitting to launch it with a very, very special guest near and dear to my heart. Today's episode, I celebrate and honor my cousin Debbie. Debbie Renata Marshall Royal, to be exact. This beautiful spirit and ball of fire passed away this summer on June 29th, 2020. It was my hope and deep desire to have her here on as my first guest. However, the gods clearly had other plans. I would say, though, that with her passing, it did indeed motivate me to get my shit together and finally get this show off the ground. And with that, I launch today on what would have been her 61st birthday, September 15th, and wearing what was her favorite look, leopard print. And for her birthday from now on, I shall. That would be my way of honoring her every year on her birthday. I will wear leopard print for the day. So, my cousin Debbie was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Her aunt, her mother, my aunt, Teresa, and my mom were sisters. She was the youngest of four siblings and survived them all this year. She was a mom to many. There were many stories after her passing of people who knew her kids who would stop by and she would take care of them. Even they would stay the night or however long they needed. And then she had several stepchildren as well. But she was mother to Ahisha, Tiara, Marcel, and Jarrell, my second cousins. She loved those big headed kids, something fierce. I babysat some of them early on before I left St. Louis. And I've had the honor, these amazingly kind and strong individuals grow to the people that they are today. And I love them because they're an extension of my favorite cousin. So it's only fitting that I would love her cheering as much as I loved her. And let's not forget, she was grand to three: Micaiah, Zoe, and little Debbie number two, Gianni. So guess what, Tiara? That's coming for you. So, in thinking about this episode, seeing that she wasn't able to be here, and I'm not going to talk for an entire hour, just me. No, can't do that. But I always wonder, what do you say about a person who's been there your entire life up to this point? She babysat me and, of course, changed my diapers. She was a cheerleader for me and my other cousin when we would do these dances, jazz dances for family reunions and such. Some, you know, leotards and all that fun stuff. She absolutely loved taking pictures. I remember for my high school graduation, she bought me this camera. It was the long ones, and it had a little slide. The flash cube would fit on top, but it was long. They took horrible pictures though. But on my graduation, she got me that camera, and it was like, oh, but she liked to document life, is what I believe, and I kind of do the same thing now. Still, I got tons of pictures. They're fully around my house, and it's just something I think was very important to her to show that not only that she was here, but you were here. But probably the biggest and best thing about my cousin Debbie was that she loved family. Like love. Family meant the world to her. And she held you accountable to a standard that she held for herself. She was deeply committed and loyal and demanding, but rightfully so, because she would not ask of you what she would not do herself, I believe. So there wasn't anything that she wouldn't do if you needed it, even if she didn't have it. So I think that was That's a damn near hard standard to live up to, let me tell you. I remember after I left St. Louis and when I joined the Air Force, it was back in 1985. Um, and in my mind, I was leaving that life and those people, behind me to go off into the world and make my mark. It's not that I didn't love my family, just that, St. Louis was St. Louis. And you had to, if you wanted to get out, you had to actually think of it, visualize it, and do it. So, but I don't recall Debbie and I like writing letters like we did, but somehow I always felt her. So that was the weird thing. So I don't recall, I could be wrong. I kind of don't keep kind of stuff that along, you know, kind of purge regularly. Um, but I felt her. But this one year, I had gone back for a family reunion, probably 1987. And this was after basic training, after tech training. I was stationed in my permanent duty station in California at Bill Air Force Base. And when I went back for the family reunion, I got so wrapped up with seeing my other cousin. I think she was there. I'm not quite positive, but doing that and then hanging with high school friends who were still in the area. And I didn't stop by Debbie's house. Well, the family reunion took place. There's usually an event on Friday night, a big barbecue, I think was Saturday? Yeah, Saturday in the park. And then Sunday is like always church in someone's house afterwards. But Saturday was the big thing. And I remember going to the park and baby, when I tell you that she was not pleased, that would be an understatement. And the great thing about Debbie, so even if she's pissed off at you, back then she didn't like just go off. It was sort of like queen of the side eye, queen of it. Like she just give you a look, and you knew you fucked up, and you knew you was about to hear that you fucked up, and it was, it was one of those things that I was 20 something, and I was wrapped up in my own world and didn't realize I hadn't realized at that point in my life how people love and how much my cousin Debbie and her mother, my aunt Teresa, loved me. And I think you kind of take that for granted when when you're young, if you don't hear it enough. Uh, but they did show it, and so I go off, and it was clear that she truly loved me and was hurt by me not coming back by her house to visit. And like I said, family is very important to Debbie, and that accountability she holds you to, and she calls you on it, and rightfully so, right? If you're going to be family, you're going to be family, and if you're going to be in someone's life, you're going to be in someone's life. And it's not always deemed like calling someone every day, but it's always making sure they know in some way that you love them. And I think that lesson was really big, and it's something I I treasure to this day, is making sure that people know that I love them as best I can. And that was one of those moments where I was like, wow, this woman like, and because you don't really realize that because you grow up and you take people for granted, basically. You took them for granted. But I didn't do that ever again, and I think I made sure to never ever do that again, and to show her that she was in my heart just as much as I was in hers. So that's very important. I continued my life in the Air Force, finally settling here in California for my tour duties. Bill Air Force Base, I think I said, up north, Northern California. And then when I got discharged, honorably discharged from the Air Force in '89, I ended up moving to Sacramento and building my life there from '89 till '95. I would say if there's one truly defining moment for me of who my cousin Debbie was, it would have been in 1992 or '93. My mom was coming out for a visit to Sacramento, and I had a roommate who Carlos, and Carlos was still in the Air Force, and we were roommates, just roommates. We were a good friend, and now anybody who knows me knows I am gay. I have been gay since the day I was born. I knew I was gay. Well, I didn't have a word for it, but I knew it was different at the age of 4. 4. And so, and I'm sure people around me knew they had words for it, sissy, faggot, the usual gamut of words. And I'm sure my relatives knew. But people knowing is one thing, and you knowing that they know is a different thing. So my mom was coming out to visit, and I didn't want to pretend that I wasn't gay. I had been out since I got out of the Air Force, right? I was like, woo, no more having to hide, because that was during the time of the witch hunts. If anyone found out or had an inkling that you were gay, you got kicked out. So 89 came, I was free, and I was me. And so living openly, gay, happy, present, 1992, 93 in Sacramento, I'm not going to pretend. So my mom was going to come and visit. And I was like, okay, she needs to know what she's coming into, because one, the friends in my life, I'm not going to ask them to pretend to not be who they are. And I'm not going to like hide the fact that, we have our queen moments. We queen out. And so Carlos had those moments. I had those moments. Reggie, all of us have those moments. So we gay, because we ain't hiding. So I didn't want to hide or pretend to be not who I was. So I decided to formally come out to folks. So I wrote 4 letters to 4 people: my mom, my cousin Debbie, my eldest brother, and another cousin. And I didn't really get a response from my other cousin and my eldest brother. And I would say my mom finally sent a response, came in the mail with a letter and then some scriptures that were highlighted. She was deeply religious, also a minister. It wasn't a surprise, but it wasn't what I was expecting. Well, this one day, shortly, I guess that window of time, Debbie gives me a call, and she was, "Hey, Shawn," I was Shawn then. It's your cousin Debbie, St. Louis, which I always found funny. It's like I only got one cousin Debbie, and she lives in St. Louis, but they all did that. But she calls me and she says, we check in real quick. And she goes, "I got your letter," and I'm paraphrasing here, but this part of that conversation is what she did say and what I heard. She goes, "I got your letter, and I want you to know that you're my cousin. I love you, and fuck everybody else." Now, I'm not sure if she fully understood the weight of what she said or what I was saying, because coming out is easy when the person isn't your child or, someone deeply, really close to you. But nonetheless, it was what I needed to hear. And it has carried me to this day, that simple and clear phrase of love and support. So, yes. So, my cousin Debbie helped me to help myself to be truly and authentically myself. I made a life on the West Coast, ending up in Seattle in 95. And I was there for 16 years. And it's just raw and unfiltered. So y'all get it all. Snot and everything. We stayed in touch. She would always call. I'd call her. Birthdays, holidays, random calls. This is before texting was really big. And one year she came up to Seattle for a visit, and I got to show her around. We went on a little jazz cruise. I think it was Lake Union or something like that. She met some friends of mine, a good friend Tanya, who hooked her up with her medicine, and it was she loved Tanya. And then we went to, I think, the falls, some falls, the Quamleaf. So I never could pronounce that word. Falls, and we spent the day doing that. It was me, her, and Tanya, and it was great because Debbie has the ability to talk to anybody, and she welcomes you until you do something stupid or fucked up. But she was always she loved Tanya, and it was just the sweetest thing to see that and to see people in my life connecting. Um, so that was like 90, somewhere in the 90s, and then on June 27th, 2001, Debbie suffered a massive heart attack while driving. And I think the visit to Seattle happened after that because she could only do so much. Uh, Child, I am messing up my calendar time. Yes, no, yes, she'd had a heart attack in 2001, a massive heart attack while driving. It only left her with like 40% heart function. My cousin Debbie wasn't too keen on going under the knife for a heart transplant. So my girl opted to take 12 pills a day. I think, everyone has their own relationship with surgeries, but it was a choice she made for herself. You had to respect it. Um, what's interesting though, in August 2007, her heart function dropped even lower to a mere 27%. But the thing is, you would never known it really by how much she kept traveling and living life. Like she couldn't go as fast and stuff so she had to be careful, like stairs, hills, stuff like that. But she kept traveling. I mean, the woman traveled a lot. She always went to LA to go shopping. I guess the district out there, she'd pick up things, usually something leather print. And she's traveled to St. Thomas, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and places on the East Coast. So she never stopped moving and most definitely did not stop living. She made it out to Oakland when I moved from Seattle to Oakland in 2011. She made it down here in 2017 for my 50th birthday. It was the sweetest thing. I said, I'm going to party. I don't know if you can make it. She was, I'll be there. It was no hesitation. And it was uh, the sweetest thing. And during my party, I had this moment of what I call giving me my flowers. Because it was my 50th, and I just wanted to hear what everyone had to say about me then. Like, if I said, what would you say about me if I were not here? Like, if I were gone? And so it was a brave thing and a crazy thing because I was boohooing all over the place. But Debbie getting up and talking about our relationship and sharing how she babysat me, changed my diapers. It was very, very sweet for me and showed the commitment that she has for people who are in her life, who show up. And so that was very special to me. And everyone who met her loved her. My friend Jocelyn found out that they had people they knew in LA, like Jocelyn's family, and I think some of Debbie's other family on her dad's side or something. It was amazing how connected Debbie was. And I bet someone knows someone who knows Debbie. I can guarantee it, no doubt. But she came to Seattle, met my my godchildren's mom, and Stacy, who took care of her also, loved her. Another person who helped her with her medicine. Those who know Debbie and love Debbie know what I mean by medicine. I don't need to say it. So some of her business y'all don't need to know if you don't know her. Didn't know her. But she came to visit me again in Seattle, not Seattle, Oakland. I had moved to Concord after buying a house in 2018. So she goes, I just want to see a house. And she came to see it and we hung out. Didn't have to do much, just chill. She's like the easiest guest. Don't need to do too much. Just make sure she has some food, some pop. It was that strawberry, something Shasta, I think is what it was. Have that, and she's good. And so she came to visit. That was 2018, April 2018. And back in my 50th, my friend ShawnJ was here, and they both stayed in my apartment with me, so they got to bond and hang out. ShawnJ calls her cousin Debbie, which is the sweetest thing. And so I do want to take this moment to thank Tanya, Stacy, and ShawnJ, and let you know that she truly, truly appreciated you all and loved you for just being kind and sweet and nice human beings to her. And know that I I am, for one, I thank you for the kindness and warmth you showed my cousin, because she loved you all, and I could see that you all appreciated and loved her. So I thank you all. That is Yanju, Stacy, and Tanya. Boom Boom, which I call her. So, whew, child, I knew this wasn't gonna be easy, but I knew it was gonna be this hard. Um, with the show, I ask various questions of my guests. Is my plan. I have like a series of questions that I ask that I would have asked Debbie, and not having her here to answer those questions is it's a little hard. A little hard. One of the questions I ask is, what are you proudest of in your life, and what would you change? Basically, who are you? The good thing about Debbie is she showed you who she was. She was no filter, no fuss, no pretense. It was like what you saw, what you see is what you got. Um, One of her favorite phrases, "Show you right." Um, Nothing but love for you, and I would say for my cousin, something she would be proud of would be her kids. You, she, she had challenges, after a divorce and then a remarry, having Aisha and kind of being a single mom for a while. That it was hard, it was tough, but she never gave up. And having three additional kids after she got remarried, she was committed. Like, I remember when Marcel was going through problems with school, with some people, I think, threatening him and not knowing how to protect him. And her and Tiara, being very similar, though Tiara will tell you they aren't. They're very similar. They bumped heads a lot, and I think Jarrell is probably the most like her, in the sense that he's got both her yin and her yang, and her ability to talk to anyone. And I think those four human beings, she is the most. I'm not going to pause it. I want to. I'm not going to. She would be the most proudest of, because they have grown to be very, very great human beings, and they have great kids themselves, except for Jarrell. We'll see, what he gonna do. He's a bit of a saucy one, but yeah, I think she would be most proud of them. Her ability to survive in a world that wasn't always on her side. So I think that she would hold a lot of pride in the way she carried herself, and the way she supported family, the way she was there. Another question that I have for my guests are, what would you like to be remembered for by those who knew and love you? Who knows how she would have answered that one? But I can say this: I will remember her for her heart, her spirit, her tenacity, her unfiltered directness, and her loving devotion. Um, she was an amazing person. I learned a lot from her. I don't think I ever had the opportunity to tell her that. At least, kind of lived by her example as best I could. Didn't always meet it. Uh, you fall, you get back up, and I think I learned that from her and from my mom, of course. But when you see people closer to your age do it, you have a better example to actually do it. Uh, Special, very special human being. I had questions of, what would you change in your life if you could? I don't know if she would change anything, but I'd be curious about those who are watching who knew Debbie, in the comments. Maybe add a great memory, or something that not just you want to tell her, but that you remember, like how she made you feel. And that's a great thing. I don't know how you move forward in life without someone who made you feel seen and truly loved. The thought of never hearing her voice or her laughter is daunting, to say the least. Uh, she had a great laugh, and her voice very specific and distinct. So, it is my hope that by living and living this fully as she did, that I honor her and her spirit, and that which I believe she held dear, to live out loud, to live proud, and to live authentically you, and fuck everybody else. I'm gonna miss her, and it's gonna be a tough road. And I know her kids are gonna miss her every day. And there will be moments, and I say this to them, there will be moments that it will be hard as hell, and you won't know how, but you will get through it. And I say, find moments to celebrate her. Pick a day, maybe her birthday. Similarly to what I do for my mom, is pick that day, take it off, do something that honors her, that you're able to remember her and lift her. And I think it will help you through the years without her being here. It will never replace her not being here by no stretch of the imagination, but it will, I think, comfort you. So look for moments to comfort yourself, and you'll be fine. So, here's to my sweet cousin Debbie. May you continue to shine and soar high above the clouds, watching over us all and making sure we're okay. I will miss you always, and I will love you always. Till we see each other again. Rest a while. I love you, Debbie.
One of these mornings won't be very long. You look for me, and I'll be gone.
Thanks ever so for joining us underneath the shade tree. If you enjoyed the show, please click like and subscribe, and be sure to join us next time. And remember, every day above ground is a gift, so let's do our best to make it matter with grace, courage, and no regrets. Now go be fantabulously fierce.